Hello, dear viewers, and welcome back to our channel, where we meticulously explore the intricate tapestry of the British royal family, delving into the stories that captivate us all. Today, we turn our attention to a figure who has for years remained at the very epicenter of controversy, His Royal Highness, Prince Andrew, the Duke of York. Just when it seemed a glimmer of hope might finally pierce through the storm clouds that have long overshadowed his life, a fresh and deeply unsettling development has emerged, plunging him once more into the heart of his most significant and enduring scandal. Before we embark on this detailed exploration of the latest twists and turns, we kindly ask you to take a moment to show your support. Do remember to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more in-depth royal insights, and perhaps even share it with fellow enthusiasts. Your engagement truly helps us continue bringing these stories to light. Prince Andrew, as many of you will recall, is the younger brother of our reigning monarch, King Charles III. For years, he has been a figure of intense public scrutiny, largely due to his deeply troubling association with the late, disgraced financier and convicted sex offender, Jeffrey Epstein. This connection ultimately led to Prince Andrew being divested of his cherished military titles and prestigious royal patronages, a truly unprecedented and stark consequence for a member of the royal family. It was a clear and unequivocal signal of the severity with which his past conduct was viewed, both by the palace and the wider public. More recently, the Duke of York found himself entangled in a separate, albeit related, dispute concerning his stately residence, Royal Lodge. This magnificent 30-room mansion, nestled within the sprawling grounds of Windsor Great Park, has been his home for many years. However, reports indicated a potential move or even an eviction, as King Charles was reportedly keen for his brother to downsize, perhaps to the more modest Frogmore Cottage, in a move widely interpreted as part of a broader rationalization of royal finances and properties. This looming threat to his beloved home only added to the mounting pressures on the Duke, creating a sense of instability around his personal circumstances, even as the echoes of the Epstein scandal continued to reverberate. It was against this backdrop of persistent challenges that a seemingly positive piece of news emerged last month, offering what might have appeared to be a rare moment of respite for the Duke. An investigation conducted by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, into certain files related to Jeffrey Epstein concluded that these specific documents were based on what they termed unfounded theories. For a brief period, this particular finding might have led Prince Andrew to breathe a tentative sigh of relief, perhaps hoping that this official declaration would begin to chip away at the formidable wall of accusations and public suspicion that has surrounded him. It might have offered a fleeting illusion that the relentless scrutiny stemming from his connection to Epstein could finally begin to wane, paving the way for some semblance of a quieter existence. However, any such hopes were evidently short-lived. Despite this specific FBI finding, the Duke of York remains inextricably linked to the core of the controversy. Far from being able to distance himself, he is now facing renewed and emphatic calls to provide testimony in a court of law. This persistent demand underscores the deep-seated public and legal desire for transparency and accountability, regardless of specific findings on certain documents. The fundamental questions surrounding his relationship with Epstein and the alleged activities of the sex trafficking ring continue to demand answers, and it appears the legal community is far from satisfied with the current state of affairs. At the forefront of this renewed push is the formidable American lawyer, Gloria Allred. Known globally for her tireless advocacy on behalf of victims in high-profile cases, Miss Allred represents a number of individuals who claim to be victims of Jeffrey Epstein's heinous crimes. With her characteristic directness and unwavering resolve, she has publicly implored Prince Andrew to cooperate fully with the ongoing investigations and, more specifically, to make an appearance before the United States Congress to offer his testimony. Miss Allred's statements on the matter have been unequivocal and pointed. As quoted by The Mirror, she asserted, "He can volunteer to testify. His silence is a statement that he's not willing to help." This powerful declaration places the onus squarely on Prince Andrew, suggesting that his continued reticence to speak publicly and under oath is not a neutral act, but rather a clear indication of an unwillingness to assist the authorities in their pursuit of justice. For Miss Allred and for the victims she represents, Silence in the face of such grave allegations is tantamount to obstruction, or at the very least, a profound lack of empathy for those who have suffered. It implies a deliberate choice to withhold potentially crucial information, thereby impeding the full uncovering of truth and accountability. The historical context of Prince Andrew's involvement with Epstein is critical to understanding the depth of the current demands. It is well documented that the Duke previously maintained a close friendship with the late financier, a relationship that endured even after Epstein's initial conviction for sex offenses. More damningly, it has been alleged that Prince Andrew was himself one of the clients who utilized Epstein's abhorrent sex trafficking services. These are extremely serious accusations, and the Duke has consistently and vehemently denied having engaged in any inappropriate relations with Virginia Giuffre, one of Epstein's alleged victims, particularly during the period when she was underage. The civil lawsuit brought by Miss Giuffre against Prince Andrew eventually concluded with an out-of-court settlement, the terms of which remain undisclosed, but which many interpreted as a tacit acknowledgement of the severity of the allegations, even in the absence of a legal admission of guilt. Adding to the persistent cloud over his name is the lingering accusation that Prince Andrew has, despite earlier promises, failed to cooperate fully with the legal authorities. During the initial phases of the investigation into Epstein's vast network, there were public assurances from the Duke's representatives that he would provide any necessary assistance. However, these assurances have been met with skepticism and frustration from investigators, who have suggested that the level of cooperation provided has been far from adequate. This perceived lack of transparency and willingness to engage has only fueled the demands for him to present himself and openly address the unanswered questions that continue to plague the case. Miss Allred continued to press her point, emphasizing the enduring public interest and the inescapable nature of the scandal. There's nothing Prince Andrew can say or do to make it go away. It is news now all over the world. People want to know who was involved in trafficking or sexually abusing children, she stated with conviction. This highlights a fundamental truth. The public's thirst for justice and understanding in cases involving the abuse of children is insatiable. It is a legitimate and pressing question that transcends borders and continues to resonate deeply within societies worldwide. The attorney underscored that the Duke's continued silence, far from extinguishing the controversy, only serves to amplify it, suggesting an unwillingness to assist for reasons yet unknown. That's a legitimate question. His silence is a statement that he's not willing to help for some reason. So all I can say is, now more than ever, he should come forward. Her words serve as a potent reminder that in an era of heightened awareness and demand for accountability, simply waiting for a scandal to fade from public consciousness is no longer a viable strategy, especially for individuals in positions of privilege and influence. The call for Prince Andrew to testify publicly carries particular weight when considering his past attempts to address these allegations. Miss Allred pointedly noted that he had previously volunteered to give an interview to the BBC, a decision that, in hindsight, proved to be nothing short of a catastrophic failure for his already embattled reputation. During that now infamous Newsnight interview, the Duke's responses, perceived by many as lacking empathy, evasive, and at times contradictory, only deepened public suspicion and outrage, rather than alleviating it. His explanations regarding his friendship with Epstein, his visits to Epstein's properties, and his denial of having met Miss Giuffre in the manner she described were widely ridiculed and ultimately contributed to his stepping back from public duties. Miss Allred's reference to this past debacle is a strategic one, implying that if he was willing to speak to a television journalist, he should certainly be willing to speak under oath to legal authorities, where the stakes for truthfulness are infinitely higher. She further emphasized the urgency of the situation, reiterating her long-standing demand for cooperation. I called on Andrew to speak to the FBI. I would say now more than ever, it's urgent. Is he willing to testify before Congress? Is he willing to give more information to the Justice Department? And if not, why not? These are not rhetorical questions, but direct challenges, laying bare the specific avenues through which Prince Andrew could, if he chose, provide clarity and assist in the ongoing pursuit of justice. The Justice Department, as the primary federal department, responsible for the enforcement of law and administration of justice in the United States, holds significant power in these investigations. Miss Allred's direct challenge demands a clear answer regarding his willingness to engage with such a critical body. Miss Allred also addressed potential concerns Prince Andrew might harbor regarding his safety or the logistical challenges of appearing in a foreign court. He shouldn't be in fear if he did nothing wrong, she asserted, directly challenging any notion that his reticence stems from fear rather than an unwillingness to cooperate. This statement implies that an innocent person has nothing to hide and therefore no reason to fear legal proceedings. Furthermore, she offered a pragmatic solution to any travel concerns. But he doesn't have to come back here. I would think his testimony, if Congress wanted to take it. Perhaps he could do a deposition in the UK. A deposition, for those unfamiliar, is a formal, out-of-court sworn testimony of a witness, often taken down in writing or recorded, which can then be used in court. This alternative would allow Prince Andrew to provide his testimony without physically traveling to the United States, thereby removing a potential logistical barrier and underscoring that there are indeed viable paths for him to engage with the legal process from British soil. This latest development ensures that Prince Andrew's name will remain inextricably linked to the Epstein scandal for the foreseeable future. The calls for his testimony are not merely an echo of past demands, but a renewed and intensified push, fueled by the persistent questions that continue to surround the case and the enduring desire for accountability for victims. The pressure on the Duke of York is immense, stemming not only from the legal community but also from a public that demands transparency and justice, particularly concerning such horrific allegations. This event certainly gives us much to reflect upon regarding the enduring impact of past associations, the relentless pursuit of justice, and the unique challenges faced by members of the royal family when embroiled in such profound controversies. The question of whether Prince Andrew will finally accede to these demands for testimony remains unanswered, but the spotlight on him has once again intensified, making his next move a matter of global observation. What are your thoughts on this latest turn of events? Do you believe Prince Andrew should testify, or do you think he has already faced sufficient consequences? Please share your opinions in the comments section below. We always appreciate your considered insights. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for our next royal update, as we continue to bring you the most detailed and engaging stories from the heart of the monarchy. Thank you for watching, and until next time, take care.